Maybe your anxiety and depression aren't problems to fix. Maybe they're messengers with something important to say. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, where we help driven people find peace without losing their edge. In this episode, you'll discover how emotional struggles can lead to spiritual breakthroughs, why we completely misunderstand mental health from a soul perspective, and what to do when you feel trapped in darkness. The emotional struggles that lead to spiritual breakthroughs. Let's just start with a story. My dad, I don't know everything. Obviously, right? I don't know everything that he's been through. I do know he was molested or raped as a child. I don't know the specifics of that, how it all happened, for how long. I don't know. But I do know that, in that he also, right, I know he used oxycodone, probably cocaine, a lot of alcohol. That led him to, how do I put it? The man was always kind. And I think my essence here is that he made certain decisions, found himself in certain places of limitation, mental hospitals, things of that nature. As I grew up, I couldn't see any of this. It was almost like he was extremely good at hiding it. And maybe it was just the nature of me being young and youthful and unaware too, that I didn't pick up on the way he was living his life. And no one really told me either until I was maybe like 16, 15. Ultimately, the pain of me not understanding like why he wasn't like every other dad, I guess. Why my dad wasn't like every other dad. That created such a hole. But that hole led me to looking, led me to questioning. You can see it. I know maybe if you're listening on the podcast, you can't see how much I'm smiling. But I can feel it in my face, in my whole, how grateful I am for that being what it was. It's almost like I needed to not have an average father. I needed to have everything that I've experienced to be who I am now. And boy, I'm grateful I am who I am. Grateful is like an understatement. It doesn't even scratch the surface of the depth of appreciation for everything I've experienced, all the things that tore my heart apart, things that shattered me. And for you, whatever it may be for you, because I know, well, fatherlessness, people not having fathers, it's something that's quite common, but I know not each of you have experienced that. But I can almost promise you there's something of a similar depth in your life. And what I'm invoking here is look at that. Because the deeper you'll go into the thing that you think is a curse, you'll come out the other end of it. You'll transmute it. You'll take that raw energy, which may feel like darkness, and you'll notice the ink can be severed. You'll start to see that that darkness has light within it. It's just you have to be strong enough to take the black away. When I say that, I really mean the darkness isn't bad. Without the darkness, you wouldn't have the inspiration to look. But when you look at your pain, when you look at the weight that is stored within these experiences, within these perspectives or moments that create resistance, when you unravel how resistance was created, you'll touch the light. But you gotta have the balls, you gotta have the strength, the openness, the courage, the skepticism to say, how else could I see this struggle? How else could I see this charged situation? Because this emotion, it's an energy. The energy isn't meant to be judged. The energy is raw. It's potent. And you do what you will with it. And this is how you get the spiritual breakthrough. You accept the cards that you've been dealt. You look at the depth behind how someone had a certain life. It's so much easier for me to have compassion for my father living the life that he's lived, knowing what he's had to experience, the things that I've never had to go through. It gives me this forgiveness. It grants me a compassion not only for him, but for every single individual who my mind may label lost. Right? When you see lost people, but your heart is awoken, it's on fire, there's not a judgment, a shunning of the lost. It's almost like, give me the people who have felt the most pain. Give me the lost individuals. Because those are the ones who are charged. And then also, right, I'm not saying that there's any judgment in relationship to if you've had a silver spoon, you got your own stuff too. Like, people don't realize this, that the individual who's been given the silver spoon life, he has the same amount of energetic struggle as maybe someone in a third world country. It just is created in a different manner. The silver spoon individual is probably writhing with mental overthinking, just to put it generally, while the third world individual has a lot more peace within his psyche, but maybe his body is in a much more difficult circumstance. You see, the universe has created this world in through an intelligence, through a vastness which is beyond just one plane of, oh, yeah, he has a silver spoon life, so he obviously has it easier than the individual who's in the third world, who doesn't have electricity or water. You know, you really got to be able to extrapolate levels to understand what I'm saying right there. But maybe you can feel it. The essence of what I'm saying here is that the struggles are for the breakthrough. That this isn't about comparing struggles. It's about understanding every human has their own stuff. How can you change internally to understand your own stuff, to then share compassion with this world? To be able to listen when others need to be heard, right? Humans, so much more often than not, they want to be heard rather than be given solutions. At least in the field that we're talking of here, right? If you have a software offer, a super specific, practical B2B offer, well, then that's a little different, okay? And I trust that you're intelligent enough to understand that. Now, why we completely misunderstand mental health from a soul perspective, it's basically what I just said. The mental health from a soul perspective is realizing that this game is broader than the mind wants to perceive it. Everyone has their own sense of self. And just because someone is a doctor with a Lamborghini living in a certain neighborhood with 2 golden retrievers, it doesn't mean that his life is easy. And if you'll sit with that man in a room, if it may so happen, it's kind of not resisting the moments that are invoked in your life. Outcast, he has a great quote from one of his songs. He says, the everyday ruler cannot be too wrong, meaning that you are where you are. And I'm not saying everything happens for a reason. Oh, everything happens for a reason. No. Right? Because that's where, the truth is that cliches have depth. It's not the message itself, it's how you deliver the message, okay? Energetically. I don't always speak in a certain way, right? You can hear when I talk like this, it's not the same as when I talk like this. And when I talk like this, when I'm making fun of someone, you see what I mean? It's that sort of looseness that helps you deep in your soul, because then you let the everyday moment guide you. And the everyday ruler can't be too wrong, meaning that if you find yourself in a situation where your mind wants to judge another, but you can feel in your heart, you can notice, you're doing the work, you can observe that you're judging another, that's how you learn how to stop judging another. If the initial judgment didn't arise, how were you to change it? How were you to be, you can't change anything you're not aware could change. So then you start to notice, wait, my thoughts create my reality. Can I question how I think? Can I question where I started thinking that way? Can I question what in my life instilled the seed that created that sequence of thought, that perception, that identity? When you look at all this at the level that we're looking at now, it's almost inevitable that your heart changes. When your heart changes, then you move in a new way. When you move in a new way, that reborn essence is communicated. Some will hear it, some won't. You don't judge those who don't hear. The ones who do hear are not better than the ones who don't hear. Okay? Now, what to do when you feel trapped in darkness? Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Well, if you feel trapped in darkness, what are you to do? I think it matters about the level, the depth, the potency, the taste, the flavor of the darkness itself. Some darkness is very petty. It's like, I'll give you a good one. In my past, I was naive and I was also attached, and I let myself get stepped upon. I have a memory of checking someone's phone whom I cared about. I never did this. I did it literally once, and it was because my heart was just screaming. And that's when my heart broke, when I saw a message and I was like, oh, it was all what I already knew. Like within my heart, I already knew this was happening, but my mind had been too scared to pay attention to what my intuition was communicating to me. Well, when I was trapped in that darkness, what did I do? I mean, if I look at it from where I stand now, it's kind of like you have to learn how to let go and you have to learn how to forgive. Especially, oftentimes, darkness is just created via an idea, a resistance of something that someone may have done, and a situation that you yourself had created. That's the real language for it. If someone did something to you, like for me, I got disrespected in a way or stepped upon, I let that happen. So it's not the lady who stepped upon me or the man. Like, no, no, that's my doing. I was unaware, I was weak, and I didn't listen to my heart. And then I had to have my heart shattered to start to catch on to the fact that the truth's inside. Am I mad? No, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for it. I mean, so this is me on the other end, right? So what to do when you're trapped in the darkness? Well, maybe something in that story speaks to you. Maybe you realize, oh my gosh, my heart's been showing me something that I know is true and my mind's been masking it. So then I'll give you like the practicalities. Please, if you really feel trapped by the darkness, look at what you eat on a daily basis. If you're eating a lot of foods that are processed, overly processed, that's part of it. It's part of the problem. If you don't go to the gym, if you don't do a sport, if you don't go on walks frequently or hike in the forest, that's part of the problem. If you scroll a lot and you waste your time a lot, whether it be porn, whether it be social media, whether it be mindless entertainment like sport, NBA, NFL, that's part of the problem. I'm not saying change everything at once. I'm saying eat some good food today, work out today, go on a walk today, go on multiple walks today. Don't watch porn today. Don't scroll on social media. Like, do what you need to do to get yourself some space between you and that thing which you label darkness. Because there's one thing to be trapped in the darkness. There's another thing to be able to look at the darkness. If you can look at the darkness, then you can learn about how you created the darkness. If you can learn about how you created the darkness, then you can touch the light. Recap: how emotional struggles can lead to spiritual breakthroughs. You know, it's energy. It's raw. Can you look at the energy in in a free manner, in a way where you keep it neutral. If you can look at your struggles in a neutral manner, then you can change the energy which the struggle had trapped and use it for something new, the observing, the watching of your thoughts. Then I'll leave you with the question of what happens when you observe and you watch how you behave, how you speak, the words you use, the pace at which you move, your relationship to food, your relationship to stimulus. What happens when you do all that? You tell me. You tell me. Now, why we completely misunderstand mental health from a soul perspective. What's a soul perspective? That's the real question. In a soul perspective, it's filled with neutrality. It's filled with depth. It's filled with compassion. It's a bird's eye perspective, while also being very real, very there. It's like you can be both the drone and you can be also the guy in the ghillie suit laying on the hill looking through the sniper scope. If you can be both the drone and the sniper simultaneously, you'll feel the soul perspective. And what to do when you feel trapped in darkness? Hey, I gave you the practicalities. Take out a pen. Ask yourself, what is darkness? What's the contrast between darkness and light? Does darkness play a role in creating light? Ask those questions. If you're real serious, ask those questions. Let's go. Sincerely, let's go. I care for you. I appreciate you. I thank you. And I'm grateful for you. I love you. Genuinely. Let's go. Now, if you're ready to transform your relationship to the dark, your relationship to the struggle, I'd love to explore it with you. Genuinely. Link is below. What I can guarantee you, a few things. It matters where you're coming from. If you need to get out of negative thought cycles, we can work on that. If you need to draw boundaries within your relationships because they're getting a little bit we can work on that. If you need to drop body fat, get into great shape, so then you can start to do this work and change your identity and open up your heart to your spiritual nature, we can work on that. I'll meet you where you're at. Whatever it is that you need help with. But the domains that I know I have results in are the internal world and the physicality. So if you want to create that body of your dreams, all while deepening your heart and being the individual whom God has created you to be, I'd love to have that conversation. Link below. Have a great day. Let's go.